Well, hello there. So it is day 9 of 1 stick of butter a day. I have it in my coffee here. Can't show it to you because I'll spill it. But it's day 9, 1 stick of butter a day. And also it's been 2 weeks since I've been off alcohol. So that is a great milestone for me again. But today I wanted to go over a list of things I've seen that have benefited me by being on the carnivore diet over the last 9 months now, basically. Things that I've seen improved in terms of my health, in terms of things that I notice, as I've been getting older, have been different over the years. And so let's just go off the list here. It's probably gonna be a quick video, but you'll see people on Facebook groups and whatnot talk about these amazing benefits, and I totally agree. Mine are going to be completely, a little bit different, not completely different, but a little bit different, just because everyone's body is different. But let's jump into it. Enough of me just chit-chatting. I've noticed on this diet, or shall we say way of eating, that's a better way to think about it. I have basically no boogers and no earwax. The earwax thing was an interesting one to me. I didn't expect that. I've noticed, and to this point, I've noticed that I had to cut out eggs. So eggs are allowed on the carnivore diet, but I noticed that I was having a histamine response to the eggs, and I even tried doing just the yolks. Still gave me problems. So I'll still have eggs time to time, but I have cut them out completely, and I noticed it was roughly 24 to 48 hours, instantly all my sinus issues were gone, which is awesome. I mean, if you've known me, you know that I have struggled with allergies and sinus issues since first grade. And I imagine that had to do a lot with dairy and eggs, because, growing up as a kid, we had it all the time. We drank milk with almost every meal. I had eggs, not every morning, but a lot. And then in the last probably 3 to 5 years, I cooked, 3 fried eggs every morning. I love eggs. They're fantastic and they're good for you. But for me, my body responds to them in a not so good way in that regard when it comes to sinuses. So that was a huge benefit that I saw, that it cleared up my sinuses. I can breathe normal now. My nose isn't running. I'm not blowing my nose like I used to. So it's been a huge, huge benefit. So even just that, if we just talk about sinuses, we talk about earwax, I was very surprised that would have changed for me. Number 3, which is kind of funny, BO. So obviously that's a normal function of the body to smell if you're not using deodorant, but really what it is a sign of toxins. Your body's getting rid of toxins in your body. And I would notice, just in general, before doing this way of eating, that if I had a lot of alcohol, or if I had some processed food or fried foods, it would get worse, which is normal. Your body's expelling it, getting rid of it. This way of eating, when you're eating clean like this, it's amazing how I have roughly no BO. Like, sure, I'll smell stuff once in a while, but I can definitely tell when I'm cheating. Because I'll smell again. Like, I'll be at the gym and I'll be like, oh, I haven't had that in a while. So if you cheat, if you have alcohol, you're gonna notice that your BO is gonna smell again. So that's something else that I've noticed, that like my armpit odor is basically non-existent. All right. Point number 4 here. This is a quick list that I wrote down a couple days ago. Brain fog. I've noticed that my brain fog is gone. I didn't really think I had it much, but definitely in the morning, it would take me a bit of time to wake up. I was talking with a friend of mine that it would take me about roughly an hour. So I like to get up in the morning, I like to read my Bible, then I like to have my French press coffee, and then, take the dog for a walk, which she's over here right now. Can't see her right now. And just like take it easy. Love waking up that way. But I noticed that now, roughly from when I get up, I stand up, and within a few minutes, I'm awake, which is awesome. Love that. I think there's more I can do to be even more rested, in terms of not watching things on my phone or my laptop before I go to bed. I think that screen time, that blue light, If I reduce that, if I, say like didn't watch it, watch something an hour before I went to bed, I think that would help me even have a better night's sleep. But overall, brain fog, it's amazing. It's cleared up in the morning, but even during the day. So like, if you've ever had carbs for lunch, I would see a major crash, and usually that's the glyphosate in your bread. It can be other things too, but I noticed I would have a huge crash right after lunch, and I don't have that anymore, which is awesome. I also, if I do have lunch, it's because I'm having like bits of steak, or I'm having a Chomp's beef stick, or I may be having something else like bacon. Sometimes I'll bring bacon with me to the coffee shop where I work. But really overall, brain fog, fantastic. Point number 5 here. Which is similar to what I was just talking about, but I wake up faster in the morning. So I kind of talked about that already. I have noticed that I wake up faster, so no need to go deeper into that one. Number 6, so might be kind of gross to you, but I figure, hey, share what goes on here on the channels. Let's be honest about what's going on. So I'm a runner. And so I have like plantar warts on my feet. Kind of gross, I get it. They're small though. But I've done some research, and the 2 things I was seeing about that was either it was dirty surfaces, clogged pores, that kind of thing that were getting into your feet, because the soles of your feet are sponges. And so that was one aspect I was researching and finding out that that's what causes it. But then the other thing too, which is this is where I lean more of, was it's about your diet. You have a poor diet, and your body's trying to get rid of the viruses in your body. And so I've noticed on this way of eating that they are reducing, and I won't say that they're completely gone, but it's amazing at how small they've become to where they're almost starting to become non-existent. So even on this way of eating, when you cut out the carbs, when you cut out the sugars, when you cut out the crap seed oils in your diet, your body starts to heal itself. So I thought that was fantastic for point number 6. Point number 7 is floaties in the eye. So I imagine most people, when they ask me, why I went on this way of eating, or they ask me questions about why I'm not eating, fruits and vegetables or salads or whatever, I'll bring up, some examples of things that have either healed myself or have gotten better. And floaties, everybody has them. The more people I talk to, I'm like, oh, I thought I was the only one that had this, or few people had them. More and more people I talk to, like, oh yeah, I've got those. For the last probably 2 years, I noticed they started getting worse. And I was like, this is weird. Like, sure, I've had floaties as a kid. Those little things in your eyes, you'll know if you like stare at the clouds or whatever, you'll see them like float across. They almost look like strands of like dust particles on your eyes. If you've ever used like a camera or a video camera, if your lens is dirty, you wipe that off. That's what it kind of feels like and looks like. And I noticed within probably 3 to 4 weeks of eating this way, I probably saw a massive reduction. About 80% of the floaties disappeared. Now, I still have them, and I've reached out to people on Facebook groups, and they've said, oh yeah, they completely went away 100% within 3 to 6 months. So I'm like, okay, everyone's body's different, but I've noticed, for me at least, hey, an 80% reduction is huge. So that is something that you might see might be beneficial to you, that you'll see there. So that's point number 7. Point number 8, I've noticed I've had better eyesight in the evening when I'm driving. I have astigmatism. I've gotten LASIK surgery, which is awesome, but I noticed that, like, okay, I'm seeing more, like lens flares again in the evening. And you kind of contribute to like, hey, okay, you're just getting older, your body's getting older, and that's just a normal progression that happens. And I've noticed on this way of eating that my eyesight at night has gotten better. And I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. And I know I've heard of people too that their eyesight has gotten better just by cutting out sugar. So you don't have to be carnivore to see benefits that way in your eyesight. But I think that's one of the benefits by cutting out sugar, cutting out alcohols, cutting out your gluten has been huge for me. So I've noticed that for point number 8, that my eyesight at night has gotten better, which is fantastic. All right, so then point number 9 here is I've had less bowel movements. So okay, kind of normal thing here, but I've noticed that, you know, I'm not going as much. Now, granted, I'm drinking coffee, so I am seeing more, probably 2 to 3 times a day. I'll see it. Only because I'm having coffee. Coffee is an expectorant, so it's gonna happen. But there's people on this diet, this way of eating, that they may only go once a week, and so, which I think is kind of crazy. But hey, when your body is basically utilizing every bit of food that you're putting into your system, there's nothing to get rid of. There isn't any leftover fiber that it won't digest that you have to get rid of each day. And so I imagine, which I'm going to do this sometime, I'm going to cut out coffee and see how that goes. But as of right now, because I'm having coffee, I'm still having to use the bathroom, which is normal. It doesn't bother me. But I have seen a reduction. So let's put it that way. I have seen a reduction in how many times I go in a day. So that's been fantastic. I love that aspect. Number 10 here, out of 13. So I talked about my sinus issues clearing up. So that's huge. I won't rehash that, but I noticed that cutting out the eggs, and even dairy, I've noticed when I've gone to some like breakfast diners, I've noticed when I have just cheated and put in some cream, that they have the diners, which is crap cream. It's not healthy for you at all. It's not even real cream, in my opinion. I have instant flare-ups. So by cutting out the dairy, cutting out the eggs have been huge for me. And I've noticed that my sinus, I mean, like right now, like I have very little like breathing issues through the nose because things are cleared up. It's awesome. I love it. And I don't even think about most times blowing my nose these days, which is awesome because shoot, ever since first grade, it's like I always had Kleenexes next to me. And it was just, it's always having to blow my nose and whatnot. And it, causes, sometimes when you sleep, it causes just, you don't sleep as well at night. Let's just put it that way. So that, I mean, shoot, just having that clear up, like sure, seeing the weight loss is great, but the fact that my sinuses have cleared up is, I would say, a top 2 most benefit I've seen on this way of eating. So that's point number 10. Point number 11 here. So I've noticed that this really isn't a health issue that's been cleared up, but doing 3-day fast is not as hard as you think. As long as you're getting your electrolytes and you're intaking water, I've noticed that I'm like on day 2 and day 3. I'm like, this isn't that hard. Like, sure, you still have a little bit of a mental game, but I used to struggle with a 1-day fast, and because it was the sugar cravings that would kick in, and your body's like, oh, you're hungry, you need to eat. And I've noticed it on this way of eating, it's not that hard. Now there are times where like, you're sure it's like, oh, I'd really like to eat right now, or I'd like to have just something. And I've noticed if I just keep my mind active and I just focus on something else, I do something else, whether it's exercising or I am working on a project or I'm shooting videos like this, I don't think about food. And it's easy to just like, I could keep going if I want to. So maybe one day I'll do a 7-day fast. We'll see. But I do a 3-day fast every quarter. You actually feel great afterwards. So anyways, that is something I've noticed. It's not that hard to do. 2 more points here to go. So I've noticed also on this diet that, and I would say it's partly due to the alcohol at night, but I'm not using the bathroom at night like I used to. In the past, sometimes I'd have to wake up in the middle of the night and go, which is okay as you get older, but not at my age. I'm in my 30s. So if you're in your 50s, okay, I get that, and I'll probably still have that happen. But I've noticed on this way of eating, I'm asleep. I don't wake up until the morning. Sure, once in a blue moon, there's nights where you may be tossing and turning, or I've had coffee too late in the afternoon, and that keeps me up. But in terms of using the bathroom, like I'm not, which is awesome. I love it. That was something that cleared up for me too. And then lastly, this is an interesting one. So a couple years ago, for point number 13, by the way, last one, a couple years ago, I noticed that I had this weird like fight or flight kind of mode in me in the morning. I would have a cup of coffee and I would instantly start sweating in my armpits. Not instantly, like in a couple minutes after having my coffee. I'm like, this is bizarre. Like, this is a weird thing. And I noticed that, like, I would actually have to, like, when I was working at my house, I wouldn't be wearing a t-shirt. I'm like, this is, it's soaking my armpits. This is bizarre. This is almost like, you know, pre-diabetic, like, symptoms. Like, this is weird. And, I was like, this is bizarre. Like, it felt like it was more that fight or flight mode where my body was like, whoa, like my adrenals were shot or just fatigued. And I've noticed on this way of eating that I don't have that anymore. Now, granted, to be fair, it cleared up before I started this way of eating, but I noticed even before I started carnivore that I would still start sweating. My body temperature would rise once I had 1 or 2 cups of coffee, and so I would sweat a little before things kind of cleared up, and you know, your body moves on, you know. And of course, I would think that's your body reacting to the caffeine that just got shot into the system. But I've noticed on this way of eating, like, sure, your body gets a little warm from the coffee because you put warm liquid into your gut, but I've noticed, like, I don't sweat my forehead anymore. I don't have that aspect going on. And that is something that, like, that was a weird one for me for over a year. And I think it was due to just a lot of stuff going on in my life. A lot of things in terms of, like, the job I had in the past. It was very stressful. And so I've noticed that it's gone, which is awesome. I mean, it was a weird one, you know, to sweat like that. So to see all these benefits here, I think this is a fantastic list. I probably could go on more, but I think 13 is plenty. I say this to encourage you all to see what benefits you may have on this way of eating. Put a comment in the comment section below in terms of what you've seen, what benefits you've seen. And let's share, let's encourage each other on this way of eating. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. All right, we'll see you guys. Over and out.